Where is my old friend Chael P? Is he making his way? Is he making a grand entrance? He is going to join us, I do believe, in a matter of seconds in our studio. He wasn't in Chicago. He was getting ready for his fight Friday night at Madison Square Garden, Bellator 222. Yes, Chael, please. I don't mean to... oh, look at this. What do we have, Chael? What? This is unbelievable. Cupcakes for me?
Cupcakes for you with a number 1 for congratulations.
1 year anniversary?
1 year anniversary. Huh? A hug? Oh, thank you, buddy.
Hold it. Just a little longer. Oh, yeah. Wow. Was this your idea?
Well, yes, my idea. If you call me Leah Almendia, yes.
Absolutely. Let me tell you something about
wait a minute. Wait a minute. We have a piece of theater. We're not done.
Oh, my God.
So there's for the 1 year anniversary.
Yes. 10 years. This show... You guys are so
and there's
thoughtful.
For the 10 years in the business.
Leah,
congrats, buddy.
I love you. Thank you, guys. Leah's the best. Top 5 human beings I've ever met in my life.
That's fair.
Yeah?
Very fair.
Yeah, top 5. Wow, look at this. My show is 10 years old this month. 1 year anniversary of my move here at ESPN. Joining forces with you.
Boom.
We built ESPN Plus.
On our backs.
On our backs with our hands. Now everyone's patting. They're doing the old Barry Horowitz.
Hey, you got was that an argument you were in with the ESPN?
Yes.
What's it?
Well, I'm sick of not getting the respect that we deserve.
But I mean, after that, how did that?
I told him to take a hike.
No way.
I told him that I'd bury him where he stands.
Oh, come on.
I told him to take his phone and...
because his body language, I didn't know if he
Kenny Mayne
got it.
Kenny Mayne,
yeah,
he's very dry.
Yes.
He's a jokester.
I'm saying, but did he get it?
I think he got it.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't talk to him after?
No, I didn't.
So we don't know for sure he got it.
It's a shoot. When you shoot, you don't ask after the fact.
That's right.
Was that cool with you?
No apologies.
Actually, a lot of people in the comments when I posted that said Chael would be proud.
Yeah, I was.
Were you proud?
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
But I was reading his body language going, I'm not sure Kenny appreciates this.
Yeah. We'll see if I'm on again.
We'll never know.
Yeah, we'll never know. No one knows. This is very nice. Thank you. You brought this up from New York for me?
That's right.
Wow.
Chocolate and vanilla.
Really? Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Well, thank you. It's been a great year.
Glenn said if it wasn't weigh-in week for me, that we would have a contest, you and I right now, to see who could eat more.
I would absolutely do it.
I used to have a cat named Cupcake. I like cupcakes.
Okay. That was your thing. You and Misha Tate.
She likes it. Yeah, well, I get her nickname, right?
How much do you weigh?
219.
219.
Yes.
So after a couple fights at heavyweight, is it tough making the cut?
Well, it is different. Yeah, it is different. I prefer it. I prefer it in that it builds an extra mechanism of discipline.
Okay.
Forces you to get that extra run or forces you to eat a little healthy. You lose that discipline at heavyweight, or at least I did. But I also was faced with I don't want to be too small. That's in theory, but at the same time, if I get too big, I can't move.
Right.
So it's this weird balancing act with no way to find out until you weigh in and then go compete and see how you feel. So
you're also fighting,
at least I know what I'm getting into.
But you're also fighting a smaller 205er, right?
In Machida?
Yeah.
I think that's right, yeah.
So it's probably in your best interest to try to be as slim. You need to be fast with Machida,
that's right.
Correct? You don't want to be big. It's not like you're fighting Rampage at 205.
Sure.
Different levels of 205.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah. And he moves well at both. I mean, he was world champion at 205.
Yes.
But he's a top contender at 85.
Right.
So he's one of those guys. Yeah, right in that weight class is pretty good for him.
So I had you in studio when you talked about, you just got the fight. It was just announced, and you said, you want to do this for Randy. He kicked his tooth out, all that stuff and more. Now that we're 5 days before the fight, how do you feel about the fight? You still have that level of motivation, like the revenge? You want to get the revenge, or have the feelings changed?
No, that's exactly where I'm at. However, that will change. In fairness, that changes. Each day as the fight gets a little closer, and you stop thinking about those things, and just start to really focus on yourself. And eventually it'll be the weigh-in, and then you recover and get a good night's sleep, and then it's about the warm up and walk it out and performing. So that will change, but yeah, I think you're right.
Do you like this whole process? Do you enjoy this?
Yeah.
Now that you know that at one point it's going to come to an end, do you find yourself appreciating it more?
More, yes.
You look around, you smell the roses?
I have many regrets in my career, but my biggest regret is I've never enjoyed it. I've never enjoyed a single, not one of the trips or the venue or but I think that is wrong. I wish I would have enjoyed it. I wish I would have taken it and realized that, I don't have to do this. I get to do this, and I want to do this. But it never seemed like that. It's always a very stressful environment. And
have you started to enjoy it a little more?
One town to the next. I'm trying to. I've at least identified that, and I'm trying to.
When did that happen? Like the identification that I need to start actually appreciating this because it's going to come to an end at some point.
Ultimate Fighter 3 Brazil. And I was with the other coaches, and we all talked about that.
Really?
Yeah, it was one of the requirements I had of the coaching staff. When we got the schedule, I said, everybody come on, mark 2 days that you're taking off. You're going to take off, you're going to go see Brazil, you're going to go enjoy some food, some relaxation, the sunshine, whatever it could be. But let's enjoy this. We've never had any fun. It's just been work. Let's, even if it's only 2 days, but everybody enjoy this in some point.
All right. So you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
And what a way to start your week.
Say again?
What a way to start your week.
Yeah.
I mean, here with us.
Here we are.
Bristol, Connecticut.
Yes.
I missed you this weekend.
I missed you. Hey, what a great card.
It was a great card,
Where
but
do you
it
want to
wasn't the
start?
same without you.
Thank you for that.
No, it feels a little empty. I was talking with Charlie. You know, Charlie, our fearless producer on the road, enjoyed his 49th birthday this past. Did you text him?
Nope.
You're big on birthdays.
Didn't know.
That's
doggone it. What day?
That's a loss on your part. Thursday night.
Oh, now I'm really late.
Yes, really late.
right.
And plus, I just said it on the air. And
I'm going to take a shot at it, though.
Okay, fair enough. Just pretend like this never happened and that he doesn't watch the show. But I was telling him it's a little empty without you, and so I'm happy now that you told me before we started you did watch.
Yeah, of course.
You watched the whole thing.
Loved it.
I spoke to Henry Cejudo on the phone as I was driving from where I live to Bristol, and he said, "What did Chael think? What did Chael think?" I was like, Chael's opinion really matters to you, Henry. He's like, yes, it really matters to me. I want to know what he thought of it all. And so I'll ask you, what did you think of it all?
Yeah, I appreciate that. So I two thoughts. First, from the entertainer aspect of it, which is look, he saved the flyweights. I realize this wasn't a flyweight fight, but he is the flyweight champion. It's relevant to bring up. From the entertainer standpoint, there was something to see all week. Every time Henry went out there, it didn't matter even if he was throwing out the first pitch in that baseball game. There was something to see there. In the crowd, they didn't even know who they were booing him. He's out there in a costume. It was wonderful. And the thing about Henry that I'm appreciating as a viewer who wants to be entertained is how confident he is in the stuff that he's doing and how much fun he is having. I can see he is having fun. So even if somebody wanted to tease him and say the crown is silly or whatever it may be, it's working. It just is. It's just working. There's something to see there. Then as you look at the fight, my goodness, Ariel, come on. I mean, I'll remind you again, to compare the entertainer with the athlete, because it is a combination of the two. When Mayweather started doing the money thing, he's throwing the money, everybody, they hated it. It was cringeworthy. It made everybody uncomfortable. Now they call him Money Mayweather. They want to see it. If you're having success and you're winning, and that's where Cejudo's at, you can get away with a lot of things that other people couldn't get away with. I think he's doing everything right.
Did you pick him going into the fight?
I did pick him, yeah.
Okay, did you think it would go like that? Because I thought he was losing the first round.
Oh, he lost the first round.
Okay.
Yeah, he made adjustments. And I think, he might have deserved to lose the first round. He came out in a little bit different stance than I had seen before. His chin was up a little bit more. His range wasn't great against Marlon, who was throwing leg kicks as opposed to punches. But that also ends up being a credit for Henry. He made that adjustment. It all started when he threw that cross and it landed, and then he throws a second cross. To talk about the physical side of it, Mayweather used to throw double crosses, and that was shocking that you could land two with no jab in between, no distractions, just crosses. He was so fast he got away with it. Henry threw, and if you go back and watch, you'll see him right. He threw 6 crosses that were unanswered and no setup in between. No jab, no kick. Cross, slipped one time, cross. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And that's really when he changed it. He got him in that tie clinch. He was delivering the
knees.
I thought that Marlon deserved a lot of credit there, too, by the way. When he was getting kneed in the face, Anderson Silva, Rich Franklin style, came right out of it and started fighting again.
Yeah.
I was confused how Marlon, as good of a stand-up fighter as he is, was lost in that position, though. I was confused how he was lost, and it did remind me of Rich Franklin, who was great versus Anderson Silva, but Anderson found that one position that, for whatever reason, Rich didn't know how to deal with, and Marlon was the same way.
Yeah, it seemed like
he just took those knees.
He got really tired, though, right?
Yeah.
He seemed like he was gassing out a little bit, but it was an amazing fight, entertaining as heck. I have so much respect for Henry, and I wonder, he's really good at 135. I don't know if I'm Henry, what do you do? Why would you go down to 125 if you're now the champ at 135? I know it's a great gimmick to have the 2 titles, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense, right?
I think that's right, and it would come down, in my estimation, I think you would agree with me, whatever the bigger fight was.
Right.
Whoever steps forward at 125, if they get more attention than 135, and I do think that it is important to Henry to be the first guy to then defend the belt.
Right.
But you do make a fair point. It is a very hard thing to do. If, in fact, he saved the flyweights, as we've been told, then he's going to have to go back.
What about
the question
145?
does become against who? Hey, 145, as silly as that may sound, don't forget, Ariel, we teased him when he first said that, which was the night he beat Dillashaw. We teased him when he said, you don't tease him now. All of a sudden, you got to listen to the guy. When he won the Olympics, and he never brings this up about himself, he needs to tell the people this. He won the Olympics at a different weight. Some people think that was at 125 or 130. No, he won that at 121. And then he won the 125 world. Then he won the 135-pound world. So if he says he wants to go to 145, who can stay? He can't now. You can debate whether he'd win or not, but you can't say he doesn't have the right to make the claim.
And can you imagine if Frankie Edgar beats Max Holloway? I mean, that's not a massive size difference, right?
Sure.
Frankie's not that much bigger than him.
Sure.
So I think it's definitely doable. His claim that he's the greatest combat sports athlete of all time, what do you make of it?
Hard to disagree with.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know that I would co-sign the statement. I tend to lead towards George St. Pierre. I tend to look then to John Jones. You can't just dismiss the statement, though. 2 different sports and 3 different weight classes. You can't simply just do this. He does need a little bit more time. And I think over time, if you want to talk about this, I think over time, history could go against John Jones. And I say that in this regard. The sport is now leaning toward, both Scott Coker and Dana White, so the sport is leaning towards these champ opportunities and different weight classes and commingling guys and creating this kind of parity. If John, as great as he is at light heavyweight, and I'm already starting to see the dialogue from John's the greatest fighter ever to John is the greatest light heavyweight. I'm already starting to hear these kinds of things. Yeah. Over time, if he doesn't spread it to another weight, and he's in a bit of a jam, I think this is unfair. John is the perfect size for 205. He's too big for 185. He arguably is too small for heavy. He's at the perfect size. It's not his fault. I bring his name up because it's one that I know you'll recognize, and over time, I think that it could affect his legacy.
Okay, and so, all right, so what about, so he's 135, 125 Olympic gold medalist. You also, I mean, you can also talk about some boxers in there, because when you say combat sports, you were just mentioning MMA fighters.
Sure.
But like you can throw in Sugar Ray Robinson and Jake LaMotta and Muhammad Ali, anyone you want, right? It gets a little tricky then. That's why I agree with you. I can't actually say it. I don't feel comfortable saying it, but I don't want to argue it as well.
Right.
You know, like he could run with it, and I have no problem with that.
That's the thing.
I just don't want to say it myself.
When he said it, again, back up to, was it January 19th in Brooklyn?
Good
when
memory.
He beat Dillashaw. Thank you for that. And he made the claim, it was a little, come on. You know, but it is now hard to say that what's he got to do? I mean, I know the answers. He's got to have more opportunities and fight more guys and defend more belts. I get all of it, but he is spreading around that hardware, and it's not a ridiculous claim anymore. It's one you might disagree with, but it's not one you can tease him for, which, as early as January, he did get teased for it.
He really wanted to know if you felt like his delivery was on point, like the whole package. You know that thing where he does where he's like breathing and he's looking into the camera and all that stuff. I know you talked about the props, but it feels very comfortable. It doesn't feel forced, correct?
Yes.
I know the cringe stuff is part of the gimmick, but to me it's not cringy. To me it's really entertaining. I really enjoy Henry Cejudo.
Particularly because he is having fun with it. You can tell he is not uncomfortable. You've seen guys go out there, when you want to talk about the delivery and the entertainment aspect, you've seen guys go out there with a pocketed statement and they come out and deliver it like the cat that ate the canary, and they've got this great look on their face and the crowd has no idea what they're talking about, and then they get embarrassed, which you would. He doesn't get embarrassed. He's so comfortable in his own skin. I think that's one of the really great things about it. And as far as his delivery, it was wonderful. And I like that he stopped Joe Rogan before they faded to black and rolled the credits. So wait a minute. I want to call some guys out, and I want to do it by name. Yeah. Very smart to do.
Amazing.
All of a sudden, once he says Dominic, you think Dominic's not going to respond to that? He says Cody Garbrandt. You think Cody's not going to respond? Of course these guys are going to respond. Let's get it going.
Yeah.
If he doesn't do that, you and I didn't just spend 10 minutes talking about it. We just didn't.
Right.
We brushed it off and went to the Bullets head kick, or we brushed it off and started talking other things on the card.
Right.
He has now forced the dialogue to go on. He won.
Okay, let me ask you about Tony Ferguson. Has that ever happened to you before? What happened to Cerrone?
Hit after the bell?
No, blow your nose.
No, I've heard about that. And you know what? It's hard for me to know that that's true. And I think when I put myself in his shoes, I blow my nose.
Yeah.
I mean, if you feel like you got to breathe and you only got 2 ways to do it, and one of them's clogged, you try to clear it. It makes sense to me.
It was crazy to see how he was freaking out and trying to push it down. And I think he actually would have fought. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that Cerrone would have continued, correct?
Of course.
But it was the right call.
For sure.
Do you have any issue with the punch after the bell?
I do, in that it was blatantly late.
Okay.
For sure.
Intentional?
In fact, there was 2. Perhaps. Perhaps it was. That's only in the heart of Tony, and we'll probably never know the answer to that. It was blatantly late. However, there is a rule that you stop on the referee, not on the bell. Now, I'm starting to get into the technical aspects of it as to why the commission allowed the referee to issue a warning as opposed to point, as why it went to a TKO favoring Tony as opposed to a disqualification hurting Tony. And that is a very real thing. He does not have to stop on the bell. That's true. He has to stop on the referee.
Okay, so you had no problem with that. What do you think?
I had a problem with it.
You
I mean,
did?
I will acknowledge that.
Really?
I will acknowledge it was a little bit late.
You think it should have been a DQ?
I think there's a fair conversation.
Really?
If I had to choose one now, even with the benefit of hindsight, which the commission and the referee, of course, did not have, I still think Mergliotti did get it right, and I would go in that favor. Okay. I didn't love the reasoning. I didn't love the reasoning behind it is what I had more of a problem with, which is the late punch landed here, and the effects of the eye were over here, and therefore the late punch didn't affect the eye, and we stopped the fight because of it. I didn't love that. Whether it's right or wrong, I didn't love that. But I do think a warning likely was appropriate.
What did you make of his performance overall?
Incredible.
Really?
Tony Ferg, incredible. Both of them. Cowboy won the first round.
Right, he did.
You've seen Tony lose the first, kind of a little bit of a slow start before he gets that pace going. But to lose an entire round is a very rare thing. I thought that Cowboy fought great, and I also think he deserves credit in the second round for those takedowns. One of them was super close. One of them actually was effective. He only held him there for a few seconds, but he got the former national champion down. I thought it was a very good fight. It was trending in Tony's direction, though, and it was largely just because of that pace. And Cowboy said that before the fight. He said, look, I don't think he's Mr. Technical stand-up fighter, but boy, he'll throw a lot of shots at you. That's true.
If the UFC says to him right now, all right, you're the man, 12 in a row, you haven't lost since 2012, you can wait for the winner of Khabib Poirier, or you can have Conor. Which are you taking?
Conor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this, since you brought that up. Tony Ferguson is the only guy in all of MMA that I could name for you right now that has 5 opponents that he could fight any one of those 5, be a main event, and be box officeable.
Who are they?
Box officeable. Is that boxable?
You said it with enough confidence.
Box officeable.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's just go through it. You named 2 of them. Sure, he could go into Khabib. He could go into Poirier. Of course, he could go into Conor. Who can't? I get it. He could go into Nate Diaz. Let me throw a name at you, though. You're going to love this matchup if you could get this. Tony Ferguson.
Justin Gaethje.
Boom.
I knew you were going to say that.
But that works.
Yeah.
It works, and particularly, this will surprise, in 3 rounds. It's a more compelling fight if it's scheduled for 3 rounds than it was for 5.
Why?
Because now all of a sudden you take a little bit of that pace away from Tony Ferg. You take a little bit of that wear that Gaethje's known for taking by choice. He prefers to be in a fist fight than to go out there and just use his best skills. And I just think in 15 minutes, you would have something so incredibly special. Could still over 25. I would almost guarantee you would in 15. It wouldn't be scheduled for that. That's a main event in any arena that they play. So it would be 5 rounds.
Right.
But I think it's a fun discussion point. And I think I'm right.
Okay, but now predict what actually happens, because his path has been so unpredictable, right?
Sure.
Who wins 12 in a row and doesn't get a title shot, doesn't sniff a title shot, right? Who hasn't lost in 7 years and doesn't get a title shot? What do you think actually happens?
Well, I don't believe that he will fight Conor next for multiple reasons, but I just don't think that he will have Conor next. Then it does come the question, and I'm thinking out loud here. I didn't know you were going to ask. I'm just processing it out loud. That's right. But so Conor can kind of do what he wants. Kind of do whatever he would like to do, and that's even been stated. And the fellow athletes are said, well, we got to see what Conor decides to do. So if he decides to go into a match with Khabib, that's likely going to halt Tony for a little bit. And that, of course, is being very presumptuous that Khabib gets over Poirier, which is a hard fight. He's favored to do so. As I talk to you, just looking in lines that he does, or that fight got interrupted somehow, I think it would likely be Conor. I don't know if you're going to get Conor back against anybody besides Khabib.
Really?
I just don't know that you are. Huh?
Nate?
Yeah, I stand corrected. He would come back for Nate. I mean, they have to do that at some point, even according to Conor.
Right.
Conor lives his life by a code, and you may disagree or you may agree with his code, but he lives it by a code, and he does respect the architecture and the history of combat sports and mixed martial arts specifically, and he understands that when you split in 2, you go to the rubber match. He understands that. He stated it many times on the record.
Where did you watch the fight?
I watched it from my house.
Are you watching by yourself?
No, I had Joel and Ladd over.
Who's that?
You ever met Joel and Ladd?
That jabroni that you do your show with?
Yes.
Okay.
Him.
That's
yes.
right. So
yes.
he comes over and watches with you?
Yeah, he comes over.
Wow.
He didn't want to order the pay-per-view.
Wow.
$60.
Really? $60?
Yeah. Well, he's living at his ex-wife's house right now, so she would get the bill, and then he'd be caught, and she told him he couldn't order it, so he came over.
Oh, my gosh. So he makes you pay for it?
Yes.
Do you need water?
It's a lot of information. No, I think I've been talking too fast.
All right. Well, you're excited to be
Maybe
here.
one of those cupcakes. I am excited.
Would you like a cupcake?
No.
Okay.
I'm overweight.
Are you?
219 this morning.
Is
I
that
got
bad?
13 pounds to go. No, that is not a hard weight cut, but it would warrant not having a cupcake.
Cupcake, yeah, that's probably not.
Hard to be 13 pounds over and then have a cupcake.
Right. I'm probably like 20 pounds over. New York Commission. Any issues with it?
No.
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 Do you really not like fighting in New York, or is that just a thing that you say?
Nah, it's probably a little bit more of a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget the first time I had started it, I had never even fought in New York. How could I say I don't want to fight in New York if I'd never even done it, right? No, I was having a little bit of fun with the city, right? Cheap heat.
Right.
Cheap heat doesn't take any sophistication, but yeah, I don't have any issue with the commission. I know they've had a couple of headaches over the years,
right?
But they're really silly ones. I think in many ways they were falsely accused.
This is an incredible thing. I don't know if you realize this.
Excuse me. The opportunity to have water.
Yes.
Do you have water?
Please. It's right here. I'll give you a fresh bottle just for you.
Thank you, Helwani.
You see, I'm not that bad of a guy after all. Did you miss like when you're watching the show with your friend, the Jabron? I've never met him, but I feel like you enjoy when I call him that.
Of course.
You're like, I wish I'd be watching this with Ariel. I wish I was. Does a part of you feel that way?
Very much so.
Yeah. So you went to 229, which was a week before your fight against Fyodor.
Yeah.
Why didn't you go to this one?
This one was just a little bit different because they brought us in so early to New York. Today's Monday, by example.
Right.
I arrived Sunday so that I could be here in Bristol. Don't forget, I'm staying in New York, a couple hours away, 2.5 hour drive. So logistically, it was just a little hard.
Okay.
This has never happened to me.
What?
I've never been on a set and then I got this cough and needed water.
More water?
I see other people always with their drinks and their water. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Your throat gets parched? You
Right.
can't just... It's happening to me.
Do you want more water?
No.
I think maybe the gum is your undoing.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. I mean,
I'm a little embarrassed about it, quite frankly.
People don't usually
I'm a little
chew gum
uneasy.
while on the air.
Cutting a little bit of weight. Mouth gets dry. It's just part of the process.
Oh, is that true? Is that a thing that you do? Okay. How many more do you got left in you? Because I feel like
How many more fights?
there's people who are trying to say, like, if you don't win this one, this could be
Sure.
it. That's not a thing, right?
Oh, well, in fairness to them, yeah. Yeah, I think that is a little bit of a thing. I don't imagine this would be my last fight under any scenario. That isn't what I'm proposing. But yeah, I think that that's fair to always look at a match and say, hey, if a guy doesn't get over the hump. Yeah, I think that's a very real thing. And I've been hearing it for about 10 years. It isn't a new thing for me to hear. But I wouldn't discredit for somebody for following my career and pointing that out.
How many fights left on your deal with Bellator?
On my deal with Bellator, let's see. I'm not sure that I even have this one. I've never reflected back on that deal, but to my understanding, it was a 4-fight deal, and I've done 4 fights.
What?
I've never even been offered Machida, by the way.
Still? Till this day?
I've told you that story.
last time.
Not only was I never offered, I've never accepted Machida. I was never offered Machida. You reported on ESPN.com that I will be fighting Machida, and here I am.
No bout agreement?
There's got to be one somewhere.
You have not signed
I would
it?
have to talk to Leah.
Really?
If I haven't signed it, we'll sign it at the weigh-ins.
They
don't have to get worried. If Bellator's what, they don't have to get worried about old Chael.
Right.
Old Chael's a company man. I'll be here to fight. But if you ask me about the contract, I'd have to
Have you ever actually gone through the fight without signing the bout agreement?
A bout agreement, I don't think so. The only other fight that I've had that I never agreed to because I was never offered it, still to this day, was Shogun. Never even been offered that fight. But the commission handles bout agreements, to my understanding.
Really?
Bout agreement is different than a contract with, say, Bellator. And so I believe before you can even get on the scale, you sign a bout agreement. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
I'm quite
I didn't know
sure.
that. I thought it was.
If you don't sign it right then, they will at least check to make sure it's signed.
Okay.
Is my understanding.
So technically, you're saying you have actually fulfilled the obligations on your contract.
Yes.
So they could say, we need to or maybe you should say, we need to renegotiate our deal after this.
They could say, here's your hat, what's your hurry?
Yeah.
Be out of the Chael business. And there's nothing I could do
Does
about
this worry you?
No, I don't know that I was worried about it. I don't think I ever thought about it until you just asked me the
How
question.
do you not think about this?
You just asked me the question right now. I don't know.
You don't worry about this stuff?
There seems like there's always somebody that needs beat up, right?
Right.
It seems like I have a moral obligation to continue this, but I don't know. I don't know how that.
I mean, they're happy
works.
with you.
Well, I mean,
I would imagine. You're the only guy who's on every show. It's amazing. It's like sometimes I see
Ace
you
in
on
the
Bellator
hole.
show. It's amazing.
Who wouldn't be happy with old Chael?
How
Chael
did you
takes
do
care
it?
of his business.
I know. Everyone loves being in
count
business
on
with
Chael?
you. Yeah. It's just an amazing story. Like, you're the only one who crosses all the promotional boundaries.
Well, that's very nice of you. You want to know who did? I get a lot of credit for them, and it's a tremendous compliment. But you want to know who did it first and doesn't get credit was Gilbert Melendez. Remember when he was working at Fox?
That's right.
Covering the UFC, and then he'd come over here to ESPN, and he'd talk about the PFL and the belt. But Gilbert was actually the first.
Okay, fair enough.
I get the credit,
Yeah.
but it's false. It's
I
Gilbert's.
appreciate you. I was with Michael Bisping on Saturday. He was sort of taking.
Do you think I should be worried that I don't have a contract with? But now you've got me
I think
spinning on
so.
that a little bit. I mean, is that something I should bring
think
up?
Scott Coker and Mike Hogan are upstanding individuals.
too.
Yeah, so
As far as I'm concerned, I do.
I don't think they're going to screw you like Vince.
No, they
screwed
don't
Brett
screw anybody.
back in the day. Remember?
Brett screwed Brett.
Screwed Brett.
Vince did the
That's
right thing.
Could you imagine if Coker does an interview the following week with Goldie or Morrow, and he talks about how Chael screwed Chael?
Yeah.
And how you didn't have a contract, it was your
be great.
fault, and you're not a good businessman.
That'd be great.
Coker turns heel.
Why would
Incredible.
Brett even think you could leave one night later, be on WCW? What he's going to take? He's just going to leave the belt here. You guys go figure it out. That's ridiculous. Just because they were in Montreal, it doesn't work that way, Brett. Brett screwed Brett. Vince made the right call.
You stand by this.
100%.
Really? Did you
100%.
Did you see the documentary Wrestling with Shadows?
Yes.
You saw it?
Yes.
I thought that they had a deal and he reneged on the deal.
Brett did.
No.
Vince.
They
had a verbal deal, but he had no other opportunity. The Survivor Series was it Survivor Series?
Yeah, 1997.
It was booked. Everything was booked. The tickets were on sale, and all of a sudden the booker comes in and says, "Brett, you're putting Sean over," and Brett goes, "Not in Montreal, I'm not." So, well, the show happens to be in Montreal, Brett, and your contract is done the second you exit that ring.
But didn't he offer?
Brett says, "I won't go there and do it."
Didn't he offer to extend it? He said, "Look, we'll do a draw, we'll do a big thing, and then the next night in Detroit or wherever they were, I'll lose to him there. I just don't want to lose in Canada."
No, it was just the opposite. He said he would do it prior to that, because don't forget the Survivor Series was on a Sunday. That's when they do their pay-per-views, and don't forget that Nitro was on Monday. No, the very next day, Brett was in Atlanta.
Is that true?
Yes, he walked out in Atlanta.
Really?
Yes.
The next day?
Yeah, so there was no time to do that.
You know, it's one of my great.
Brett had thrown several suggestions forward, and
Yeah?
the team's going, but it doesn't work that way.
Wow, so you're anti-Brett.
I'm not anti-Brett, just in this particular case, Vince did what was right. That would not have been right to the rest of the boys or even to the audience for him to let Brett go to Atlanta as champion.
Do you think he really? Do you think he really knocked him out, or was that a work?
No, and that was one thing that bothered me with Wrestling with Shadows, because that's where they changed the story. Now, either the story was not told accurately. The first time a Wrestling with Shadows got it wrong, but the story has never been told that way. Now, let me tell you where this is off. And this footage is even out there on YouTube when Brett goes into the office with Vince, throws the punch. There was multiple people in that office, including Shane, and that was one of Vince's biggest problems with what Brett did. He's like, "Look, I understand how we handle things when there's a Scrooge. I understand that you and I were going to have a moment, but you hit me in front of my son, and I let you do it. And I won't let you do it again." That was a very real thing. You know, Vince had the black eye, and there's even a camera on that when Brett comes out in the pink and black, and then Vince comes out, and Shane comes out, and I think it was Pat Patterson in the room with him. I'd have to go rewatch. When Wrestling with Shadows did it, it was Brett was getting ready to shower, and Vince came in, and it was just the two of them. So somewhere, somebody got this off, which Scott Hall picked up on, and Scott Hall said the whole thing's a work.
Wow.
They're working. Look at these details that constantly change. Brett was in on it from the beginning.
Get out of here.
Now, I think Scott Hall is wrong.
Okay.
But this is Scott Hall. This is what he has proclaimed.
Right. You know, that's my great claim to fame. I was in attendance that night.
No, really?
I went there, yeah.
Wow.
I was in Montreal. I was a student at the time in high school, and I had no idea what was going on. And I saw him smash the TV monitors afterwards and do the WCW. And then I went home on the internet and read all about it.
Sure.
I wasn't a smart back then.
Sure.
You know?
And that's one of another thing that Scott Hall brought up was that WCW. He goes, "Look, I'm just telling you, in the heat of the moment and that tired and that fatigued and everything going on, you would not think to look, turn, know where the camera was and do that." He goes, "Brett was in on it." I don't agree with him. I do not think it was right. I'm sharing the story, though. And since this whole thing is a big conspiracy, it's fun to look at it from all angles.
Sure.
And that's Scott Hall's intention.
I have no idea how we even got on this topic, if I'm being honest, but I'm enjoying it thoroughly. Did you watch AEW?
Oh, because you just informed me that I don't have a contract with Bellator.
That's right.
Now you got my mind spinning. That's what happened.
Did you watch AEW?
Yeah, I did watch it.
Really?
I tuned in just after the Battle Royal, which I heard opened the show, and I heard
you ordered it?
Garbage. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I thought it was very good.
Really?
And I also like, that's a star-driven business, much like what Vince is doing with the Saudis right now, where he's just got to bring in the biggest names. It seemed like everybody that was a free agent in the world made an appearance of some regard.
Yeah. Why didn't you ever try doing that?
Professional wrestling, I considered doing that.
When?
I was a sophomore in college. I actually went out to the WCW. It was called the Power Plant at the time, which was a training.
it was
you had to do
Sarge?
a tryout.
Sarge
was there.
Yeah.
He worked. I was a college All-American Division I that year.
Okay.
And I made it through. I barely made it through.
How many days?
All you had to do is kind of like Navy SEAL. As soon as you've had enough, say you've had enough, leave and don't come back. And the very first day, the room was packed. By the end of the first day, there was only 3 of us left. And those 3, 2 of us made it to the final day.
Who were the 3? Including you?
Neither one of them ended up making it. I didn't go into it.
Wait, so that's after one day?
After one day, everyone was gone but 3 of us.
Okay.
After the second day, we all made it through the second day. Nobody got kicked out. Nobody quit. But on the third day, one guy did not come back. He was a cop. He told us that. He said, "Guys, I think I'm at the end of I can't move."
Okay, so then there's 2.
And then we encouraged, "Oh, hey, you'll be here, sleep it off." So he said, "Guys, I really don't think I'm going to come back." And he didn't. And it was me and a gentleman from Jamaica.
Okay.
And they worked us so hard. Ariel, it was so hard.
And then what happened?
I'm telling you, I barely made it through this thing. It was so hard. And then so then I returned to the University of Oregon. I did my 2 more years. And my senior year, they went out of business. I got invited back. Yeah, I made it through the tryout. But if you make it through the tryout, all that gets you is the interview, which they can then invite you or not invite you. I don't know what happened with the other gentleman. I got invited.
Okay.
But they also thought I was way too small. They put me on a scale. I weighed 197 pounds. They thought I was lying about my weight. They thought I was smaller, so then they put me on a scale. And they said, hey, man, you got to be a high flyer. You got to do, and that's what they were doing in the 90s. And that's not what I want to do. I don't want to do a luchador, but they were trying to get over this cruiserweight class and some other things like that. That was a little disheartening to me, but that was my extent.
Do you think if they didn't go out of business, so this is around 2000, right?
Yeah.
That you would have actually gone down that path instead of MMA?
It's MMA. I can't remember back then at that time, but yeah, I think that was my plan to go and do that at one point. Now, I wanted to do MMA. Yeah, it was just it was really hard to break into the business. I was already doing MMA. I had my first fight in 1997. I had my first fight before I ever even went to the power plant. But to break into the business was so difficult. And in fairness, it wasn't much of a business back then. It was a great sport, and many of us loved it. But this is for the sanctioning and the commissions. This is before any television deal. This is largely in the dark ages, as you'll remember, of the UFC. Bellator wasn't even a name back then. WEC, Pride wasn't a name. And don't forget, Dana White didn't get involved until 2001. This is 1997. Tougher thing. So yeah, I could have gone the path of wrestling.
Did you try out for WWF? Did you talk to them?
No, I talked to them. I talked to them one time. I could share that a little bit privately with you. It was just before I fought.
It's just amongst friends here,
All right, you won't tell anyone?
No.
I share. It was just before I fought Anderson Silva, and it was basically a offer.
Oh, this?
A no call, no show. Yeah.
This is 10 years later.
Yeah. Well, you asked me, did I ever talk to them?
No, I meant like when you were a youngster.
No, I didn't know how to. My only contact to the WWE back then, and don't forget the internet was just coming out back then. Nobody had cell phone. There was no Twitter, social media. Facebook wasn't even a word. I mean, don't forget the time that we were in. My only contact to the business back then was Rowdy Piper, and I didn't know him, but I knew Matt Lindland, and Matt knew him.
Okay.
So it was hard. I didn't even know how to get in contact with them.
Wait a second.
Now, my dad would have figured it out. We'd have probably got on a plane and just shown up at Titan Tower and tried to get in. I mean, we'd have figured it out, but no, I didn't know how.
I don't think I've ever talked to you about the other thing you mentioned. Was that prior to 117 or 148?
The second one.
The second one.
That'd be 148.
That's a real thing?
Mm-hmm.
Legit?
100%.
You're not working me?
No.
Someone called you and asked you not to show?
No call, no show. You cannot call, you can't show. I got two offers. Or the second one was do show and beat him and be on Raw with the belt on Monday.
No way.
Yeah.
This is insane.
And that was a much bigger offer.
But you had to win the fight.
Yeah, and I said
who called?
I can't tell you.
Really?
I can't tell you the whole story except that.
Okay, go ahead, fine.
He said, I said, why would they want that?
Yeah.
Why would they want that? And he said, he paused and he said to stick it up Dana White's ass.
What?
And I said, okay.
And then what?
Nothing. I didn't tell Dana. I never did anything with it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Did you consider it?
No.
For a second?
Not even a second.
Millisecond?
No.
Why?
Absolutely.
How much money are we talking about?
7 figures.
7 figures?
Yeah.
But why?
I'll tell you straight up, it was $1 million to no call, no show. It was $5 million to be on Raw with the belt. That was a number. That's not a secret.
So
I can tell you the whole story now, can't I? It's been a long enough time.
This is amazing.
I just can't tell you who called.
Have you ever told the whole story?
That's the whole story. The only part I'm leaving out is who called.
Okay. And why are you protecting him?
Well, I feel like that's...
Does his name rhyme with...
Please don't, because I'm sure it does. I don't know many people there. Please don't. It wasn't Vince, but I will tell you this is...
Where... Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, it was not something that I would have even remotely considered. I wanted the championship. I wanted to fight Anderson.
Yeah, but if you would have won, you get the belt.
Sure.
Then you show up.
Yeah, and I don't think there would have been anything underhanded to Dana there.
Yeah, so you would have considered that.
He probably would have thought that was cool.
Yeah, you would have considered that?
Sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I never talked about it. I didn't know how it worked. I get on a plane the next day and just show up. I don't know how it worked. Yeah.
And that was more than you were making for that.
What
fight,
does that
right?
mean? They say show up on Raw with the belt. So I'm picturing myself. To this day, what I picture is I'm on the ramp and there I am with the belt, and the audience and the wrestling crowd's looking at me going, who's that guy? That's what I'm picturing would have happened.
They probably wanted you to do the old Alundra Blaze, throw it in the garbage.
There you go.
Right?
Yes. Those were the words that were used. Show up on Raw with the belt.
For $5 million?
Yeah.
Do you remember how much you made for that one?
I would have paid to go to Raw.
Yeah.
I always pay to go to Raw when they were in town.
And that's probably more than you were making to fight him.
To fight Anderson the second time was 50-50.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
I don't believe you for a second.
Well, that's through a commission.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah, and then, yes, of course, right.
And then the other
the old
90% of the...
certainly in there.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't do that anymore.
Yeah. I thought you were asking me what the contract was.
Right.
First time I fought him, the contract was for 35 and 35. And I lost, so I got 35.
Right.
It was a hard night for 35, I must tell you. Yeah.
Wow, that's an amazing story.
I'm enjoying talking to you.
This is
fun.
great. We could do a whole show like this. I wish you lived, nearby that we could actually do things, because it's different when you're, face to face.
What's your drive?
By the way,
What's your drive in here?
I
2
know
hours?
you did a great thing there, a veteran move, which I'll acknowledge. You tried to, you didn't want to talk about this anymore. You went for the water and you did the I enjoy. You think now I'll take the compliment. It will boost my ego, and then we'll get off the topic of you getting an offer not to show up to a UFC fight.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I really have told the whole story. I know that I only know a couple of people, and and I feel like my face will crack while I'm trying to not. Yeah, I've done such a good job not revealing the name.
Can I just ask, where were you when you got the call?
In my driveway at my old house.
Okay.
100%. Sitting in my truck.
Chael, we have an offer.
It's funny that you asked me that. I know exactly where I was.
And you were blown away.
Yeah.
Were you married?
No.
Who was the first person you told?
That whole story too?
Yeah. You must have hung up the phone and said, so-and-so, guess what just happened to me?
Probably. Yeah, I do not know. Likely would have been my mom.
Right.
Because that story couldn't get out.
Yushin Okami?
No, I could have told Yushin. Yes, I could tell Yushin everything.
He would have been evolved.
He would have nodded and smiled.
Amazing.
I have no idea what I said.
Unbelievable. Wow, what a story that is. Do you ever regret it?
No.
You would have been done. Dana would have never forgiven you for that one.
He should have forgiven me.
Right.
Oh my gosh, I would have double crossed him to the highest of levels.
Horrible thing. I have a question.
No call, no showing. Oh my gosh. No.
Amazing. Do you know if they've ever offered anyone else this?
You would have no intent. I wouldn't respect anybody that did that.
Yeah.
Even if he tried to tell, I got $10 million. Gave your word.
And why did they hate? Why were they so mad at that point?
I don't know. They had a back and forth that a lot of people don't know about. And you might even remember that. Mike Goldberg was in the middle of that. What's that date back to 2005? They had a big back and forth.
Okay.
Dana and Vince respect each other tremendously, especially publicly. But that doesn't, I think they get very competitive behind the scenes. I don't have any evidence of that.
Not surprised.
I mean, publicly, they stay out of each other's wheelhouse.
Okay.
Neither one wants to, it appears neither one wants the De La Hoya Dana moment. Dana's doing a good job with his business. Vince does a good job with his business. And they stay at that. I personally believe, because they earned each other's respect, and it probably didn't come the nice way.
Okay, fair enough.
I personally believe. Do you believe that?
Yeah, I believe it
I believe at some point one of them bucked up and the other answered, and they say,
I agree.
Let's just walk away.
Yeah, two alpha males.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And it seems the way that they do behave publicly is they earned a respect, likely from about going to war. Yeah.
I've never seen them together. Have you ever seen them together?
No.
Photo op? Nothing.
No.
And you'd think at some point they would have run into this.
Oh, they've been together. Yeah.
Right.
Dana came out publicly with a statement a long time ago. He was here to do ESPN.
Okay.
And he popped up there. Popped in unexpected, wanted to see Vince. Yeah.
Wow.
It was actually about a production issue. He wanted Vince's advice.
And did he take the meeting?
Yeah, Vince took the meeting, and Dana had to ask him questions about how he hung in the live arena. When you do a stadium show, how are you hanging these? He had a production question, and Vince took it and answered him. Yeah, helped him.
I wanted to ask you about something. I hope you don't mind me asking about Paige Van Zandt.
I really don't mind.
Okay. She posted a photo of her wearing an ATT shirt.
Yes.
What's that all about?
She is a trader and left gyms to ATT.
That's what I figured.
No, not quite. Our gym is now an ATT gym.
Okay.
Paige is anything but a trader. She's a wonderful teammate. I was trying to get your attention there. Gracie Baja, which is what we were in Portland. Gracie Baja is now under Dan Lambert's.
That's it.
It's now.
So that's
ATT.
the big news.
Yeah.
But same location. Same coaches.
Location, same everything, a little bit different schedule. And that's all it came down to is Gracie Baja, because it was a franchise, requires a very specific schedule, jiu-jitsu based. And Coach Fabiano Scherner goes, I've got so much MMA going on, I can't meet that criteria. Can you work with me? And they're like, yeah, we really can't. If you're going to be Gracie Baja, you have to do the schedule. So ATT.
Okay. So does that mean on Friday you'll wear an ATT logo?
Yeah.
Really?
I am
First
now
time in your
ATT.
career?
Yeah.
Is that weird?
I had forgotten until you just brought it up. Now, I'm very happy to be part. I will support the team.
Yeah.
This happened 1 week ago.
Okay.
Yeah, 8 days to be precise. So Sunday of the previous week. Today's Monday. No, it'll be cool. It'll be cool.
No problems.
No.
All right. Will your son come to this fight?
He'll be there.
No way.
Yeah, he's got a robe. Says baby gangster.
Really?
He's wearing his robe.
Is this his first time?
Yeah. He's been to fights before.
Okay.
But, they say if you go to the whole thing, it can be 6 hours.
Yeah.
Even in great seats and with some popcorn and something to drink. It doesn't work for a kid his age. So he will come to this one.
He's going to watch it live?
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
I'm excited. Yeah. Be excited. It'd be nice to see him.
Is it a bit nerve-wracking for you knowing that he's there?
I don't think so. He comes to a lot of the practices, not all of them, but a lot of them.
Okay.
And of 8 to 10 practices a week, I bet you he's at 4. So no, I'm used to. And then he and I got to fight every single night before he goes to bed.
And he understands what's happening.
Yeah.
You don't think he'll freak out or anything?
He may, but no, I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I don't think so. I think he'll understand.
And you offered this to him? You said, would you like to come?
I did not. My wife is out here, and so we have no babysitter.
Right.
So when we have no choice, she's
Oh.
got the kids. She's got the kids. I'm in the ring.
And your daughter's going as well? Mm-hmm. She'll be at the fight?
She also has an outfit.
Really?
But it's a very pretty. I love New York.
is a big
black
deal.
and white. She looks
Are
very.
you going to acknowledge them? Like Cowboy does?
Well, I may try to, but I don't know where they'll be seated. I haven't thought about it till again. You're asking me questions I didn't know.
Well, this is a big moment. Like,
You're telling me I'm an unsigned athlete with no home. I didn't
Yes.
realize this until I brought it up.
You have kids.
Better win this
and
fight.
a loving wife. Yes.
Better win this fight.
It's a big one.
Old Chael wants a deal, huh?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Do you need me to help out?
I feel like you're already helping.
Call up Scott, Mike.
Yeah. Hey, by the way,
Let's take care of our guy.
Did you overlook this guy,
Yeah.
or did you let this
going on?
expire on purpose?
Yeah.
No, everything is great there.
This is wonderful.
I will, in fact, be. I should have brought you milk, right? Milk and a cupcake.
This
Now,
Magnolia?
how is that? Sometimes when guys are cutting weight, they don't want to see food or be around. I'm the opposite. I want to know. I want to know how that tastes. You look happy.
Oh.
Is it happy?
I love icing.
Yeah. It's the best.
A lot of people don't
Are
like
you
icing.
just eating the icing? Are you 8?
This is amazing. What
Is
a
it
nice
good?
surprise.
Good. I'm glad that it's good. Should have brought you something to drink.
I'm going to leave it here for later.
Would you rather have a coffee or a milk?
Right now,
Yeah.
I'm not a big milk drinker.
Really?
Yeah.
Even with a.
It's just like a lot of milk. It's a lot of cow.
You don't dip? You don't dip like the Oreo
No.
or something?
No.
Really?
I do love coffee, though.
Certainly you eat Oreos.
No.
Have you had an Oreo?
I have
Okay.
Only double stuffed. If it's not double stuffed, I can't deal with it.
Really?
Yeah, it's just not enough
And for
icing.
me, that's too much. It's like the double quarter pounder.
Remember the colorful
As
ones?
good as it is, it's just too much meat and cheese.
Remember the ones that were like yellow and blue?
Yeah.
Those were fun.
I get that actually bothers me.
Why?
Because the Oreo recipe came out in 1929 and it has never changed. That's how good of a cookie it was.
You knew the year?
Yeah, that's right. And so now they have gone, and you got the gold, and then you got the double stuffed, and then you got the holiday one, and now they're putting peanut butter in them. You can get some that are pink.
Too much.
It's garbage.
Original.
1929, same recipe,
Don't mess it up.
black, cream in the middle, done. I'm not thrilled that you like the double stuffed, quite
I
frankly.
love the double stuff, but I haven't had it in a while. You know Corporate Jake?
Yes.
He's very nervous right now. He's sweating bullets. He's talking in my ear.
Because we're going too long?
Going too long. He cracks the whip.
He wants Chael to go. He wants the ratings to go.
He has no idea what he's doing.
Corporate Jake? He's not thinking about the corporation right now.
It's so he says he wants you to stay and me to go.
See, that was a wonderful face
That
turn,
was.
Jake. That was actually brilliant.
That was great. You know, we did a live show of this show on Friday in Chicago.
You killed it. You sold out. Congrats on that, by the way.
Everyone was like, I'm so happy Corporate Jake's not here. But everyone said they missed you. They wanted you there.
Hey, Stipe won that. That surprised me.
Thanks for spoiling it for everyone.
Doggone it.
How did you know he won
It's
it?
not out?
Well, I just wanted people to download the show. In case they missed it. It's fine. But how did you know that? Did you listen?
Yeah, but you know who I would have thought would have won of that panel?
Ben.
Yeah,
Felder.
you know. Oh, he's good.
Yeah.
He's very good. Paul, I would have said Eddie just because he's the longest veteran up there.
I thought Felder because he's a broadcaster.
Fan. Yeah, and he travels around. I mean, he goes from show to show. Felder's a great guest because of that.
Stipe crushed it.
Crushed it.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
Couldn't believe it.
He undersold himself, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he hustled everyone. I
enjoyed
bought
it.
it because he said, I don't know trivia.
You enjoyed the show?
Oh, yeah, I thought it was very good.
Wow.
Yeah, I liked the stage. I liked the belt. I liked that there was an award.
thank you.
I liked the backdrop.
Wow, it's very nice
Yeah.
of you.
I also like that you didn't do a circular. You know, I like that you were up here and the audience was back
Right,
here. That's the appropriate way to do it, theater style.
All right. Well, we
stadium
are out of time. This has been a lot of fun. Bellator 222,
Kicked out.
Madison Square
No
Garden.
contract.
This
Chael's
Friday.
got no contract around here.
Chael Sonnen against Lyoto Machida. Roy McDonald against Neiman Gracie
That's
for
a
the
good
welterweight
fight.
title. There's a lot of question marks surrounding Mr. McDonald.
Yeah.
What kind of state is
The
he
Wolf's
in?
back too. Yeah, I agree with you on that. And what kind of state is Neiman in? I mean, you can ride highs too high too in this
Right.
sport. You know, it's not all about just getting down and whether you can get out of the rut. He's on a real high, beating Ed Ruth.
The co-promotion.
Yes.
Kyoji Horiguchi, one of the best fighters in the world right now. Darian Caldwell, Dylan Dennis, Heather Hardy,
Yep.
Aaron Pico,
Yep.
Phil Hawes,
Keep going.
Robson Gracie.
Loaded, yes.
I mean, off the top of my head here.
Yeah, that was impressive.
It's a pretty
Are you
impressive
going?
line. I will be there.
Cool.
The whole crew will be there.
I knew you were going.
Yeah, you just wanted to.
Just want to see.
The whole crew will be there.
All right.
This man will be there. Chael P.
Corporate
Friday.
Jake, come on
I
out and
miss
meet
you.
him, everybody.
That's right.
Oh, I leave,
just
not
actually
you.
leave.
Oh, I thought we
Yeah.
were like fading to. No, I get up and
this
go.
is-
That's how
there's
this
no
works.
breaks. Yes,
All right.
there's the
I've
line
had it
right
with
over
you
there.
anyway, Helwani.
It's been so much fun. Chael, you can
Kaboom.
take my water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. See you,
No
buddy.
problem.